Over 6 years ago, Void Interactive released their Ready or Not reveal trailer. Little did viewers know they were watching the start of a mystery that would slowly unravel, bit by bit. This was the start of the Ready or Not ARG. Approximately 7 seconds into the Ready or Not trailer, coordinates flash on the screen in the upper right-hand corner. These coordinates lead directly to Fort McComb, located just on the outskirts of Seabrook, Louisiana. Fort McComb was created during the 19th century in 1822 and served as a defensive position for the Chef-Mentor Pass, which allows seacraft to have access to Lake Pontchartrain and thereby New Orleans. The fort was made shortly after the US gained its independence from Britain. It then came under the control of the Confederacy in 1861 and changed hands to the Union in 1862. Fort McComb never saw battle and was decommissioned following a barracks fire in 1867. To this day, it remains abandoned, withering away to time and Mother Nature. So what does Fort McComb have to do with Ready or Not? A direct tie-in is seen in the first season of True Detective, where Fort McComb serves as the season finale's crescendo. The final episode in the series is titled Form and Void, already tying in the game developers there. The episode features a place called Carcosa, which uses Fort McComb as a film location, which also serves as the final battlefield between True Detective protagonists and the antagonist of the series. Carcosa is a hidden temple dedicated to the abuse and murder of children, which was founded by a group of politicians and church leaders within Louisiana. One of the founding members of this organization, Sam Tuttle, had an extramarital affair which resulted in the birth of William Lee Childress. William then had a son named Errol Childress, who we come to find out is known as the Yellow King within the series. So besides all that, this brings into question, where did Carcosa originate? The name or idea of Carcosa comes from the short story written in 1886 by Ambrose Bierce titled An Inhabitant of Carcosa. In the story, Carcosa is a fictional city from which the author comes from, who becomes lost in an unfamiliar place. The author follows a paved road which leads him to a grave, his grave. It's at this moment the author realizes that he's dead among the ruins of the city of Carcosa. For there be diverse sorts of death. Some wherein the body remaineth, and in some it vanished quite away with the spirit. Ambrose's story was then later expounded upon by Robert W. Chambers in the compilation of short stories titled The King in Yellow, written in 1895. The introduction to the book begins with a fictitious song that is featured in the also fictitious play titled The King in Yellow. It references the dim and mysterious landscape and outlook of the city of Carcosa. So let's tie it back to Ready or Not. Later in the game's teaser, we hear this line.
BCC to 10 David on TAC 1, prepare to copy emergency traffic. SWAT units 42 Adam and 5 David responding code 2 to rally on junction of Pilchard Street and Ferry Avenue, high risk warrant service.
Now, when I googled Pilchard Street and Ferry Avenue, no Google Maps showed up initially. But as I started digging, I found a map of the port of Los Angeles. And right smack dab in the middle, there it was. Pilchard and Ferry. Now, granted, this says Ferry Street, but come on, man. Ready or Not is based off of LA. This is in LA. Pilchard and Ferry at intersecting crossroads is pretty uncommon. And here we are at a port in LA, while Ready or Not features a port map. So is all this a coincidence? Not even close. The rally point is set at Pilchard and Ferry, so it's near to where the operation is taking place, which makes sense for a few reasons. First off, that rally point is likely at the fire department itself, which tracks as it's a governmental building that would provide them some level of discretion. Secondly, you never want to have your tactical operations command near where the mission is actually occurring. So overall, this is a perfect rally point, but it's not where the mission is actually taking place. If we take a look at the satellite imagery and compare it to the in-game map provided, it's incredibly easy to match the two together with the Long Beach port, just east of where the rally point takes place. Zooming in even further, we can see that the road and these tanks are matched up to how the port map is laid out. Long Beach, California. That is our exact location in real life for the port map. Now, the port mission acts as the setting for the final mission for Ready or Not. As you move through the maze of shipping containers, you finally reach the Red Room, the depraved resting place and auction house for human trafficking. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper here into the connections by backtracking a little bit. On January 10th, 2022, Void posted this tweet on their official account. Welcome, brother. Where heroes go, these tattered souls, on death's row. The image features two disfigured SWAT officers with barcodes at the bottom of their legs, which we will get to in a moment. These creatures' faces are featured in the spider drawing found in several locations across the game, but most significantly in the port map. Gwyn, the community manager for Void at the time and the creator of this portion of the ARG called the Sepulchre, confirmed that in this stanza, On Death's Row is referring to a specific place. Gwyn also had their Discord status changed to this set of numbers, which when placed into their own substitution cipher, the Gwynstitution table, spelled out Carcosa. Now back to those barcodes. When the image is reversed and the numbers below are placed into an A1Z26 substitution cipher, the lines read, "Join us and blossom. Do you feel like a hero?" So who are these characters? What do they represent? Shortly after the tweet was put out, the Discord channel description for the ARG was set to, "We hail you, born of rust. We bear you, lost to us." This gives us one of our first factions into the ARG, called the Lost. Now, who is the Lost? The Lost is the name given to a single entity or group that are faceless, disfigured humanoids. The only contact or name we have for any of these Lost is an account in the Discord called Home. On January 11th, 2022, an account labeled
81513.5,
translated to Home, began slowly putting out a series of messages. These were later found out to be an out-of-order conversation between two people. The full conversation goes as follows.
Our vow, our life, and yours, fading away. Each flame, melting, dripping, dying. We sing for them, we plead for them, we mourn them. Unwanted, buried, forgotten, searching for home, to return.
melting. I want to forget. Hold me. Wait with me, for a while. Just for a minute. I'm not ready to go yet.
That's not how the game is played. The rules changed on you, and where did it bring you? To your knees.
I want to forget. Why can't I forget?
You come to me, impatient, insolent, begging for deliverance. All in time. We will free you. All will be made clear. All will be well. Just relax. Let go. Breathe. Remember, nothing is ever lost. Only mulched.
There are no dead ends. Culvature. Flourish. Burn.
Person 1 is thought to be the Lost, while Person 2 might be a higher order version of the Lost. Now, in this instance, Person 1 likely is or was part of the Mariposa Lily organization, which is an ultranationalist paramilitary group made up of ex-LEOs and military veterans. So back to the conversation. What were the Lost talking about here, and what exactly is the first one trying to forget? If I'm being honest, I don't know if we have enough information here to accurately tell, but based on what we have so far, we can take a guess. In my estimation, the Lost are not just made up of the MLO, but civilians as well. The Lost, from what I can tell, are exactly what they sound like. Lost. These are people that have experienced so much trauma that they have begun disassociating with themselves. Let's touch on that a bit more. Dissociation. The International Society for the Study of Trauma and Dissociation characterizes this in a few different ways. Depersonalization, in which the person literally feels disconnected from themselves, having out-of-body experiences. Dissociative amnesia, where victims are unable to recall important life events outside of the trauma that occurred. Identity confusion / alteration, causing the individual to lose their sense of self and what they believe. And finally, physical dissociation. A person begins to lose control of their senses and physical control over their own body. What I believe is that the higher order of the Lost is telling the first to let go of all of this trauma, to forget it, to move on. Because while the second one has disassociated from themselves, they're okay with it. They've accepted it. Whereas the first one is still so scared of what's going on, they don't know how to let go. This is Ready or Not's Carcosa. The people that end up here, including the officers that bear witness to the horrific atrocities taking place throughout the game, and especially at the port, ultimately have a death or transformation of sorts. One in which the body remains and the spirit vanishes. Their souls are warped, disfigured, broken. The people entangled in this web, the people they once knew themselves to be, are gone. And in their place, a void. This is their burial. Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou, unsung as tears unshed, shall dry and die in Las Carcosa. And as always, remember our sole objectives. Stop the killing, stop the dying. I'll see y'all later.